Welcome to the 7th episode of Let's Be Real. And today I'm going to talk about self-love as it pertains to mindfulness and managing your headspace, which is really your home. Well, your heart is your home, but this is where you live. And much of what happens up here happens because it was happening. And yet there are a lot of choices that you can make. Good morning, everybody, to make this more comfortable. And today I'm talking about a mindfulness tool, and this is in support of healing. And remember, with healing, what are we doing? We're coming to the present moment as you are, not just as your human self, but also as your divine self. That means in awareness of and allowing of your inherent worth, all the openness and possibilities of infinite intelligence. And so let's see, human, you have your human half and you have your divine half. And in healing, what you're doing is coming to the awareness of both. Healing is not, when we're talking about healing trauma, it is not a trip into the past to undo, to even really understand, because you can't. You can start to explain why you think this was and that is, and you'll sound really convincing, especially if you can say it with a lot of words. But in truth, like, there are so many factors that influence events that the only one you really need to care about is this one, yours, your seat of power, your right now. And let me give you an example of the complexity of past analysis. So let's say that what you're healing is some level of self-worth, and you look back and you say, I don't have self-worth because my parents didn't allow me my own emotional experience, those motherfuckers. And then you blow it out a little and you're like, wow, look, they didn't really know how to do that because they weren't offered that themselves. And then you blow that out a little bit more, and like you keep doing it. And so the actual cause is so far removed and also influenced by the environment internally and externally. So if somebody has a certain inclination towards growth, perhaps they would have been able to catch and correct that pattern before passing it along. Perhaps they were in a neighborhood where there was more love demonstrated at a family level, and so they were able to correct that pattern. Like, there are so many factors, and I'm emphasizing that because the mind, which is what we want to, this is your personal experience, your mind. You take your head everywhere. If your head is full of nonsense and your head is full of like, I'm not good enough, this isn't good enough, I'm not safe, this isn't safe, and that's not usually what it sounds like. What it usually sounds like is just a lot of critical thinking, a lot of not higher level critical thinking that is critical, like, this isn't good, and it sounds like explaining why you're right. It sounds like explaining why they're wrong or this is wrong, and that is then the music that's what you're hearing on the inside. If that's the music that you're dancing to, those are the results that you'll get, and that's what we're talking about today. It's sort of this chain of command where you cannot control or understand what was, but if you step into your power right now, you can start to make choices and influence things forward. So again, when we're talking about healed, what really we're looking to do is to restore your awareness, power, present, and your awareness of your power in the present. And that is at, like I was saying, a human level, like, you're good enough, babe, and a divine level, isn't this cool? There's a lot more room here than, we were maybe taught. So in your mind, you have this computer. This is an old school one. Depending on how old you are, you may or may not recognize the tower on the side. And this computer collects programs in the form of beliefs. This is who I am. This is how things work. This is what to expect, etc. And then the program interfaces with reality, i.e. the experience around you, and quickly, so quickly you don't know that it happens, determines I am, it is, it was, it will be. And that, my friends, is your experience in such a way that you think this is reality, this is absolute reality, but no. This is your interpretation based on the beliefs and programs that you have. So again, when we're healing, what we're healing is these. You're good. What we're healing are these, so that you can be present in a way that allows for you to see things from your whole human self, your unique individuality, and your divine self. Oh shit, like anything's possible. Life's supposed to be good for me. So here's the process. This is what happens. This squiggly line on the left, hey girl, hey, is an event. The event is then processed through the beliefs. You have your projection then of what is a very snap right now. Hey, this is what's happening. Oh, I get it. They're this. It's this. Dude, it is so subtle. You will, if you start to really slow down and pay attention, you can notice where you read things incorrectly. Switching letters, switching words, and that changes the meaning entirely. And all of that, again, comes from what are you expecting? Who do you think you are? How do you think things are? Who do you think they are? What do you think is possible? So you have stuff that happens, an interpretation that is almost automatic, a projection then of kind of like a game. It's almost like, okay, well, what choice do I make based on this, what I understand to be true? You make a choice, and then your choice feeds back into the events that you experience. And when we're looking at quality of experience, again, is an experience that you have in the moment that can be unconditional. That means that you don't need things to be different to feel some type of way about it. An example of that is if there is an incredible storm outside and you think that the storm is wrong, you will feel like the storm is wrong. Your experience will be, whoa. If there's a storm outside and your computer says, this is great, the groundwater will be restored, the sidewalks will be clean, then the experience you have of the same event is different. And that storm could be, I don't know, like a breakup or a job loss or lack in some ways. It is not the experience that determines it is not the event that determines your experience. It is your belief, the way that you process the event. And then how you process it, like I said, determines what you see as possible at a choice level, which then affects the following events. Ain't that crazy? So in healing today, on Let's Be Healed, what we're talking about is, hey, isn't it cool that you can let the past be what the past was, let them people be what them people are, thanks girl, and really just focus on being present, because this is where you make the change. Here's my power question for today, or rather power prompt. What if the way that I'm seeing this isn't quite the way that it is? What if it could go another way? What if this storm brought with it connection amongst the community in a way that we all felt better about our neighborhood and more supported in each other? What if the event on the table is ultimately good? And what's nuts is it's never not, because life is moving forward. Life is always making the most of everything. If you think about life as kind of the environment or even the human body, it does its best to tuck and roll and make the most of what is. What if, like the alternate reality Marvel series? Oh man, I don't even know that one. I can't wait. As some of you know, I'm a new and emphatic Marvel fan. I've been watching them as educational films. Okay, so what I was saying is, like, life is making the most of what is. I posted something yesterday. It was like this joke of a God tweet, and God was saying, like, the reason that happened is whatever reason you made up after. And this ties back to what I was saying earlier in the presentation about the limits of understanding, which means, like, man, you can make up whatever fucking story you want to make it okay, to feel okay about it, but ultimately, like, you don't know. And so what if you just let it be and then brought yourself back here where you can actually impact the quality of your experience, the immediate quality of your experience, what meaning are you assigning to the storm, and then the external experience, what are you creating through your choice, event, interpretation, projection of choices, choice effects, like, and this happens on so many layers, but we'll just talk about it on that one for now. And so what I'm suggesting is that in your moment, if you are perceiving things in a way that makes you feel powerless or makes you feel like not so great, what if you could laterally think of another way to interpret? Lateral thinking means, like, be imaginative and playful and say, like, I think of if you've seen the movie Airplane, it's an old school Leslie Nielsen one. In it, it's kind of like, I think it's called is it a spoof? I don't know what the word is, but at one point there's a control room and somebody marches in with a paper and he hands it to the controller and he's like, what do you make of this? And the guy's like, well, I could make a hat, I could make a brooch, I could make a pterodactyl. And that's kind of what I'm asking for here is when you are gridlocked in your victim story, when you're gridlocked and feeling like you're powerless, gridlocked feeling like there's nowhere to go, what if you could just make a little space for another interpretation? And that might then help you see a different choice to make, which then could impact the trajectory of that event. And if nothing else, you would feel better in the moment. You do not lose by not thinking awful. It doesn't mean, and so this was a big lesson for me. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Amen. Thanks, Kevin. Being open-minded to possibilities does not mean that you deny attributes that are present. Discernment is saying, I see that this is the color blue. It might someday turn to the color pink, but today is the color blue. I see that this person is having difficulty being honest. They may someday be honest, but I allow that this is their state right now. What if plays it how it lies? You do not, and I would recommend to not deny the reality that's present. You don't need to whitewash or pink glasses, anything. All you need to do is look forward with the potential of things going a different way. And you respond to what is. Being present is about responding to what is. And it takes a little practice. I call it self-master. Hold on. Oops. Master-y. Because it takes a little time to come to know you're a master of yourself. It takes a little time, it's a little wide, it takes a little time to know, okay, is this my shit? Do I need them to be a liar and that's why I'm seeing that? Or is this the actual pattern of behavior that they're demonstrating? And a liar is kind of an aggressive term. I think of it more as somebody not that comfortable with the truth. So it takes a little time to sort out, like, hey, is this mine or is this not? And in the meantime, allow yourself, like Madeline's saying, to act accordingly. So it's not you being like, if you're not sure, play it safe, man. Make a choice, but make a choice towards love. So in that instance, and again, this is an area where I had a lot of room to grow. In that instance, you can allow compassion for them. Hey, I see you're having a hard time being honest about what is. They may or may not be open to hear that. It doesn't matter. What matters is what's the choice that's correct for you. And your programming might be like, I have to ignore that I see this, or I have to play nice because, or. But what if you didn't? What if they weren't the only vendor in town? What if they weren't the only person that would love you? What if they got a new job somewhere and left you alone? What if, like, you can play this game to open up the future without altering the present? And again, I would recommend allowing the present as it is, which is an application of discernment. That does take a little self-mastery to know, is this because I think it is, or is this because it is? And it gets a little trippy. Like I said, this plays out on several levels. It gets a little trippy because nothing's not you ultimately, and yet. So just kind of keeping it on the ground, you can make a choice. Just make the point of this exercise of what if is to look for choices that create relief in the present and possibilities of change in the future. And remember, what we're healing is that ability to allow yourself to be present uniquely to what you want, what feels good to you, what's true to you, and as a child or expression of God, infinite worth, infinite possibility. Hey, wait, what if it was okay that life was good for all us? That concludes my presentation for today. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, feelings, stories, comments, suggestions, questions, resistance, jokes? This is the 7th episode, I think, of this series. The rest of them are on IGTV and on youtube.com/The Shaylee Show. I have been putting them together in print documents, playing around with that. So pay attention if you would like to receive, or send me a message and let me know. There's another series up there as well called We're All Here Together. And in that one, I'm just sort of up there chatting. I love using faith that what I'm going to gain after letting go, changing perspectives, is more aligned with me as a person and better than what I perceived as loss, different, changed. That's so great. Thanks for adding that, Shauna. Yes. As part of this process and the new choice, one of the programs you might have that would have you hold on to situations that aren't correct for you is that you don't think that there are other ones or there could be better ones. That's a case of limited imagination. What if there was somebody that fit you a little better? What if there was something that what if there was an environment that you didn't have to struggle to be comfortable in? What if then? You're in for a treat when you get to the What If Marvel series. Thank you. I'm excited. I think I just finished phase 3 and I was being recommended to skip WandaVision. I guess that feels right. I'll have to see. I do everything as I'm inspired. Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. All right, have a beautiful day. Oh, my phone, I got my new phone all set up, which means I'm going to be back most mornings. And I'm happy to speak to topics. I say that, and then people suggest topics, and I don't think I've gotten back to them. So maybe I don't say that anymore. Maybe I'm interested in topics that present themselves in what I'm doing, but TBD on the circling back, so I'm going to stop offering that. All right, everybody have a great day. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.